Hello everybody, Mr. Beal here. For this assignment of Phase 2, Week 3, we are going to do a songwriting project in SOUNDTRAP. Now, you may choose to do this project on your own, or you can do it with some of your friends and all work together on it and turn in the same assignment. If you choose to do that, you'll have to describe in detail just kind of what each person's role was, what you did and all that, just so I can just be sure that everybody contributed. But I want to show you how to start one of these collaboration projects. So if you are logged into SOUNDTRAP, you simply will be on your main screen. It'll probably say your name up here. You'll start by clicking on Enter Studio. Now, I made a video with a few students and had a few technical difficulties where it wasn't working. If something like this pops up, it could be that you just didn't save your work last time. I'm just going to hit discard. Okay, so when you go to a new project, go ahead and just click on music. We're not doing a podcast. And you'll see that over here it says add new track and kind of a bunch of stuff ready to go here. So before you even begin, I recommend you go give your song a title. So let's call it, here, I'll just say Mr. Beal. And then maybe you're working with someone named Thomas and Susan Project. There you go. So, in fact, I'm actually going to change it to Luke because one of my students was helping Mr. Beal and Luke's project. So now, before you even start anything, you're going to want to collaborate. Now, the first thing you might think is, oh, I'll just go up here and share. Nope, nope. You want to go right over here to this button here. This is the collaboration button. Now, when you click on that, you'll see that there's an invite button right in there. Now, I did this with another student, and I'm going to click over here to show you a video I did with a student here. So here we go. This is me talking. Before you even start, the first thing you want to do is invite some collaborators. You can do that by pressing this button over here. And when you click that, you'll see it says invite. So I'm going to send an email invite here. Now, you do have to get your friends' email addresses to do this correctly. So, Allie, if you could read. So this first student unfortunately had some technical difficulties, so I'm going to skip over this part. One of my music students, Allie. So I'm typing hers in now. For some reason, there was a little technical difficulty there. But I had another one of my students, Luke Mingachi, help me out with this. And I had to ask Luke what his email was, and because he already had a SOUNDTRAP account, it actually auto-completed.
Maybe it's already in
now,
there.
Once I send Luke that invite,
let's see if it works. So I'm going to invite them now.
If you are, it will come through to you as an email, most likely. However, it will also come through to you in the form of an email. So let me skip ahead to what that looks like on Luke's screen here. Give me a second here. And Luke was able to share his screen and show us that it came through on his screen, and he was either able to accept or decline. So right here, listen to this.
Yes. Okay. So on soundtrap.com,
it says Daniel Beal has invited you to join a project. Now it's a different title there because I made a different video. You can either decline or accept. Of course, you're going to accept.
For you. Right. Now, Allie, if that didn't appear in yours, it might be because
Luke is going to click accept, and then it'll take him to a screen that looks like this. Oh, sorry. Ignore this. Here we go. So when Luke clicks accept, this will pop up. If you wanted to, you can get notifications, like every time someone makes a change, you can click on yeah, sure, or you could just say not now. That's totally up to you. Might be smart to get notifications. That way, until the project's over, you can kind of get notified of all the changes.
You can hit not now. Yeah, it's up to you. Okay, and then
now, once you've done that, it's going to take you right to the project.
Hold on 1 second, Luke. While you're doing that, I just gotta grab my dog real quick.
Oh, that was the part where my dog started barking like crazy. So Luke's going to discard that.
Okay. So Luke, it allowed you to join the project. Great. Now, just click on Let's Get Started. So now,
just want to pause there for a second because I realized after watching this video that if you wanted to, there's also a tips on collaboration you could watch there and a tutorial. So if you wanted to, you could always watch one of those before you click on Let's Get Started. But let's continue for now.
So now, let me just show, so Luke, let me just show you how now, because you're in the screen, I can send you a message. So you're still sharing your screen, correct?
Yes. I see that you're typing.
So this chat window is really nice.
So there you go. So now, ideally, if you could, when you have a collaborator set up, you guys can work together on this. Now, Allie, if you could check your personal email.
So what I did there was I sent a message to Luke in this little chat window. There's a little typing feature down here. So if you plan to all be logged in at the same time, you can actually all kind of talk as you're working on your project. So let me, whoops.
Anything come through?
Scroll this over a little bit here to show you what's happening. Oh, and this is the part where I go to the next video. So hang tight for a second. So now, what you're going to see is that once you're in the room together and able to work on stuff, what can you do? So let me just show you real quick what that looks like. Oh, sorry. Let me open this up with this. Try this one. I think it's this one right here.
Hey everybody, Mr. Beard.
Nope, it's the second one. All right, here we go. So now that Luke and I are in the room together,
I've successfully invited
check it out.
Luke to do this project with me, and he is logged into SOUNDTRAP. It says Luke Negachi is here now. Luke, go ahead and send me a message. And when Luke starts typing in the collaboration window, you'll see that it shows you he's typing. You can have a live conversation with your collaborators. You can have up to 4 collaborators for this project. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by saying, I'll take care of the drum track. And I'm going to go to the loop menu here, and I'm just going to pick a drum sound. So let's scroll down. Let's try this one. So I'm going to click that, drag it in. Oh, wait a minute. I want it to go all the way to the beginning. So all the way to measure 1. I'm going to click this, drag it in. And now you'll notice that my drum sound has come in. I'm going to make it stretch all the way to 16. Let's do that. Now, when I hit that save button, Luke, what happens on your screen when I do that? Something should pop up that says your collaborator has made changes.
Oh yeah, so if you're still in the chat, it says your collaborator has made updates, and then it says sync right next to it.
So go ahead and click the sync button, and let me know if this red loop or this Brampton melodic beat appears on your screen.
There it is. It's right there.
So there you go. So why don't you add a loop now? And, and now to stay organized, you could have this conversation in the chat. Luke, can you add a bass loop? And then Luke, could you share your screen for a minute? And do me a favor, click on the box that says include system audio, so we can kind of see and hear. See,
okay.
So you'll see it on the left.
So now I want you to see what it looks like from the student perspective. So Luke is going to share his screen. He's going to make some changes, and then and you'll get to see what happens.
There, and then so you can kind of see and hear what you're doing. Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay.
So click on the purple circle there, and go ahead and click on bass at the top there. Actually, yeah, there you go. And you can click on any of those ones you want. So if it's one you want, you can either double click on it or you can drag it into your song to place it where you want.
Let's try a different one. Let's do this one. I like that one.
So he's clicking and dragging it. He can take it to the very beginning if he wants, and it'll automatically fill out like 8 measures typically. He can make it longer if he wants. Now, Luke, go ahead and hit the, actually don't hit save yet. I'm gonna stop sharing your screen, and then when I tell you to hit save, I'll share my screen so that everybody can see what happens on my end.
So the reason for this is I want you to see in real time here, like when Luke makes that change, what appears on my end. Because Luke's the one that's making the change here. So this could be one of your friends making a change. They could be doing it while you're in the chat room together. They could be doing it today, and then you check it out tomorrow. I want you to see what pops up on your screen when changes have been made by one of your collaborators.
Okay, so when I give you the signal, okay, Luke, go ahead and hit save, and then you'll see what happens on my end. So here I am in the chat window. It says right here, your
I'm going to pause it right there. So you see it says your collaborators made updates. Now, you have to click on that sync button in order to see what those updates are. So notice how when I click on that sync button, the sound that Luke put in will appear right here, even though I didn't put it there. Because he's a collaborator, every change he makes is going to appear on my screen when I click on sync.
Collaborators have made updates. When you click on sync, that sound that Luke just did on his computer at his house is now going to appear on my screen.
There it is.
So that's how collaboration works. You can, every time you make a change and you hit that save button, notice the save button is gray right now. Until you make a change, there's nothing to save. But as soon as you make a change and you hit that save button, a notification will appear on everybody in your group's page that says your collaborators have made changes. Would you like to sync? Simply by clicking that sync button, Luke, go ahead and drop one more loop in just to show the demonstration one more time. Any loop, doesn't matter what it is, surprise me. Because really that's how this is going to go sometimes. You're not going to know what your collaborator's doing.
So currently I asked Luke to put in a new sound. So I don't know this is happening, but it is happening. And in a moment here, you're going to see that yet another change pops up. And we'll see what happens.
Hey, buddy.
And that's my dog in the background. In case you're confused, I made this video earlier and now I'm editing it because it didn't work out perfectly. I'm videoing the video essentially.
Right now.
I need to bring it to the beginning.
Anywhere you want. You could drop it at measure 5 if you want, measure 9. It doesn't really matter.
Let's do that. Okay, so now I hit save.
Yep, and then Luke just hit save, and look what pops up. There's a little banner that comes across, and you have to click the sync button to see the changes. So whenever you're in here, if you're not in this collaboration window, okay, this little blue circle, you're not going to know changes were made. You have to hit the sync button, and now it's almost like kind of a surprise, like, ooh, check it out, he picked electric keys. So now when I play this, you can see what they did. Now, let's pretend like, you know, hey, Luke, I didn't really like that last loop. Can you pick another one? You could discuss, you could disagree, you could say, wow, awesome choice, and like have this whole conversation right here. And by the way, it saves in the chat too. So, you know, you can always go back and read your history and all that and go from there. Okay, so that is how you do collaboration, and just don't forget, every time you hit that save button, it's going to appear on all your collaborator screens, and you just hit the sync button to update it and see what it says. So make sure when you add stuff, you know, you really like it because you're showing your whole group what you've added. Only save when you're happy with your changes. All right, thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So I'm going to keep recording here and kind of show you, I'm not collaborating with someone right now, but just to kind of continue to give you a few SOUNDTRAP tips while you're working in your screen here. So obviously I just showed you how to do collaboration. Now, just a couple reminders of just how things work in SOUNDTRAP and how you can make your song more interesting. In the last project for the warm-up remix, I showed you how to do Patterns Beatmaker. If you click on Patterns Beatmaker, you could create your own rhythm, like we talked about in the last class. You could change the drum set here if you'd like. You can add special effects. You can also click on this button here and actually play the drums with your keyboard. In case you're wondering, if I tilt down the keyboard here, you can see what that looks like. Here we go. So anyway, you could try recording yourself if you felt so brave to do that. There's really all sorts of instruments you can go. Let me just go to this X over here. You know, if you want to add a loop, it's really easy. I mean, you can't go wrong by adding a loop because all the loops, they fit. You could do it by genre. Like you could do like if you hit this X right here, you'll see that you've got rock music, pop music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, all sorts of sounds. You can go by instrument if you want, and all sorts of things. So I'm just going to lay down a drum track here. Let's do rock drums. Let's try this. Here we go. Just going to drag this in, and just to kind of show you like how you can start to get some ideas here. Now, let's say you want that to go on for a little while. Whenever you see that circular arrow at the end, you can always drag something over as far as you want. I want this to go on for a while, like 32 measures. Typically, a lot of popular songs go in dividends of 4. So, 32 is like 8 times 4. 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Like, if you keep doubling the number 4, you should get some pretty even stuff. Now, these buttons down here, this is like the rewind button, takes it back a little bit. This button will take you back to the beginning in one click. Okay, if you just do boom, it takes you all the way back to the beginning. It doesn't matter if you're all the way over here at 27. If you click this button, it takes you right back to the beginning. So here's a drum track. I'm gonna hit the space bar to play. So that's a quick way to do play and start. Okay, now, if you're not adding loops, there's also, you could add a new track, and there's really a lot of things you could do here. Like, let's see what happens when you click on brass and woodwinds. So the way this works is that, obviously you don't have a clarinet in your house, many of you, but they do allow you, if you felt so inclined, to actually play it on your keyboard. So if you wanted to, you could do something like, Now, you can noodle around. If you're ready to, you could always hit this record button. It'll count you off, and then everything that you play gets recorded. And when you're done, you just hit stop, and then when you go back to your track screen by just Xing out here, you'll see there it is. You can listen to it. While you're playing, you can adjust volume, like this. Okay, so volume's important. Maybe you want to see what it sounds like with just the clarinet. Okay, well, mute the drums. This is the mute button. Or if you wanted to, the other way you could do is you could solo that instrument. So here we are with everything being played. And then click solo. That's another way to do it, okay? So there you go. I'm gonna delete that beautiful clarinet track. But you can do that with all sorts of instruments. So I'll let you do exploring. You could do a guitar and bass. You could do a synthesizer, strings. Let's go to guitar here and just see what the difference is. Once again, you see that it's got, the keyboard here, and you can kind of mess around. You can change your instrument, by the way, by clicking here. So you'll see there's lots of guitar choices. Like, you scroll down, you can see also there's rock guitars, there's pop guitars, all sorts of things. You can do chords if you wanted. This is interesting. So if you go to, for example, this one right here, you'll see that by playing this, oh, sorry, did I do that wrong? Let's see, chords, there we go. Let's do, oh, here we go, there's only a couple. So if I were to click on this one here, check out how it changes. Let's see. Disregard that for now. Sorry, I thought that did something else. Okay, so anyway, what else can you do? I wanted to show you a couple more little things. If you wanted to, if you had your own sounds that you've gotten somewhere else, you could always click on this button right here, Import File. And if you do that, it can open up this little box here, and you could find something of your own. So if you had, something, I don't know, let's see if I have a sound file somewhere. MP3s, I usually have something. Here we go. What do I have here? Like if I wanted to put a sound in, this was a singing part I did for a group. And there it is, it appears right there. Now, I'm not gonna play it for you because it's not gonna match, but it just happens to be like, the sound of someone's, and it makes it so that you can download, you can add any sounds you want. Okay, so obviously you can add loop after loop after loop, and then remember, just like we do with the collaboration, it will only save your work if you click save. If you're working on your own, this is really important. If you're working with collaborators, it's really important because they will see your changes. You can't overwrite anybody's changes. So if someone puts something right here at the same time as you, it'll just bump yours down one. It's not going to delete it. You can always change the speed of your song right here. you can change the key of your song right here. There's all sorts of choices. You know, none of these are wrong answers or anything like that, but you know, you can do that if you want. And really, you know, once you get going with this, I'll go over all the details of the requirements, like the length and the different sections and all that stuff. But you know, once you kind of get moving, it's just really not so bad. So hopefully you'll be able to make some sense of this and be able to work together. And of course, I'm always available for questions if you're getting stuck or need some help knowing how to do some things. So just reach out anytime via email. And of course, I'm always available at my office hours as well, the half an hour after the class is scheduled. And reach out anytime. All right, can't wait to hear your projects, everyone.